And
let's make sure let's make sure that works and then go down to that.
got it. Can you smile?
Hang on. It's literally like landing a plane.
And it did. It
All
is.
right, so go back to Zoom. Hi.
Hey, everybody.
We think we're on.
We think we're live.
We think that we are. Ooh, hi. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
What's up? It just always makes me so nervous. Let's just. Oh, there we are. Look.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
I'll go.
It is literally like, I feel like every
Do you want to
pilot
expand that now?
feels.
Do you want to
No,
expand
I
that?
like to see the time and all that.
All that jazz. Okay.
It's like a pilot.
It is.
Flying, the pilots say flying is the easy part.
Yes.
It's the landing and taking off.
Taking off. That's exactly right.
Hi,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sunsets with
Dan and Cindy
and speaking,
from Oklahoma.
Yes, exactly. We're back in the 405.
We are.
Wow.
It has been a fantastic. How would you say that, Dan?
It's been absolutely stupendous.
Stupendous. 2 weeks.
It's been a
It
fabulous
has.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
We
Cindy.
welcomed our 7th grandchild.
Yeah, number 7.
Everybody's doing well.
Doing
We
great.
finally got to really meet good
Yes.
grandchild number 5.
Yes. Tell them why.
Because it was straight up COVID when grandchild number 5 was born.
Yes.
And we couldn't even go and be in town.
Remember we made the big trek. We made a
But
trek.
that was long after he was born.
Right. But
and his
we made a
sweet
trek
mama.
and only saw him for 30 minutes. So this was a real
Oh.
time to connect.
It was awesome. We
our
had
card.
this great family time. I
Yes.
got to get eyes on my parents in
This was another
Anderson,
big 2 weeks.
Indiana.
Yes.
And wow. And we had 2 concerts. We had one in Sugar Creek, Ohio last night, which was, we did 2 actually.
2 shows, yes.
So everybody was socially distanced and it was
Yes.
so great.
Fantastic.
And one of the questions we got today was, did I get my peanut butter pie? And the answer is yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
And it was fantastic. And then 2 weeks ago, we had a concert in Ocean City.
Right. That.
So
And it was
just the sweetest.
So it has been a packed 2 weeks, and we even did last week on the road at Cracker Barrel.
Yes, we did, which was awesome. I think we need to make that a regular thing.
I do too. We want to thank them, our sponsor.
Well,
that we kind of sponsor.
That we sponsored because we bought our meal. But anyway, we're glad to see all of you tonight. We're gonna get quick to question and answer because you all have asked some great questions. But first,
let's talk about look behind us. And this sunset is really a little bit in honor of this guy right here. This is the lean a little way. This is San Diego.
That's the Hotel del
Coronado.
That's the San Diego sunset. It's actually Coronado sunset.
Coronado.
Because I grew up in San Diego. You have 2 brothers who live in San Diego.
Yes.
So we love San Diego. So that's a San Diego sunset.
San Diego.
And where can we find you on social media?
Social media, you can find me, Don Peslis, Peslis on Facebook. Many of you have been friending me, and I love that. And also on Instagram, where I tend to live a little bit more.
Please friend him. He loves all the friends.
I am a 7 on the Enneagram, so I do love to connect with you. Rev Mista, REVMISTA, Don DON on Instagram.
Awesome. And you can find me, Sandy Patty, right here on Facebook. You can also find our YouTube channel, Sandy Patty, and there's a lot of really unique kind of only one place you can find that stuff.
Right.
We would love for you to go to YouTube and subscribe. It doesn't ask you to fill out any personal information. You don't have to buy anything, but it just lets YouTube know that there's some really cool stuff going on our channel, and they won't kick us off. Also on Instagram and Twitter, I'm Sandy Patty P. So that's how you can find us in the social media.
Do you want to save the Dan and Cindy question and the sunsets for question and answer time?
Well, you might as well answer that one right now.
Well, you want to tell them about Dan and
So
Cindy?
one of the questions that we got
Weekly.
Every week is
every week.
Tell us again why it's called Sunsets with Dan and Cindy, because we're Don and Sandy.
It's the Dan and Cindy every week.
What's
the Dan
Why
and
is
Cindy?
he calling her Dan? So during COVID, we just felt like we wanted to do something for our
Mhm.
age generation, because it's the biggest generation,
Mhm.
and everybody sort of had to find technology a
Right.
little bit.
Right.
And also our generation, what does the Almanac call our
Well,
generation?
we'll talk about that. But again, one of the tidbits that you find out in the Almanac are buzzwords. And the buzzword for our age group, and maybe a little bit of not only the baby boomers, but a little bit of the traditionals, and maybe into Gen X, is pre-retirees. These are folks, us. We may have left
Yeah.
the office or
But we
slowing,
haven't left the office.
but slowing down
Yeah.
the office to give more time to do the things we want to do.
Yeah. So
Right.
we're pre-tirees.
And coming up with a name led
to our pre-tirees
Yes.
name that we
Yes.
have fun with.
Yes.
Instead of Don and Sandy, Dan and Cindy. So a lot of you have sent us your pre-tirees, and a shout out to Skip and Dot, because
Skip and
their kid got married.
I
And we love
know.
you, Hunter and Allison. So
They came for money.
they
Skip
came,
and Dot.
Skip and Dot.
Dr.
You,
Skip.
hey, do you remember our friend, Phil and Betty Fair?
Yes.
Phil's dad.
Oh, Denton.
Where we'd do a
Yeah,
secret,
yeah.
he
Do a
would
secret.
put it in middle of his mouth, and
Yeah.
he'd go, "Hey, I have something to tell you." And I just, anyway, whenever we go, they came for money.
They
I
came
just
for
think
money.
that's what that is.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Cindy.
anyway, shout out to Skip and Dot and Allison and Hunter. We love you guys so very much.
Congratulations so
We
much.
also want to send our prayers out to President Trump and his family
Yes.
for a very speedy
Yes.
recovery. And it is a real thing, COVID.
is.
We've had it. So tonight we're dedicating our show. Why don't you take this one?
Well, we are dedicating this tonight to our spiritual director and Pastor Ron Mon. And he is my co-pastor in the chapel. He is at Crossings Community Church. He's also really our spiritual director and has been walking close
Mentor,
with us.
counselor, friend.
He is the head of the counseling department and services at Crossings Community Church. And we ran this by him, but we go ahead and share it. But he's up
Yep.
against a battle. And I can't remember the specific type of,
Yeah.
but that's not what it's important. But he's up against a battle with leukemia.
Yes.
And this leukemia, we got some great news that it's very treatable. And he is up for the battle. And
Yeah.
he said that we could share that tonight with you. And we dedicate that to him.
Yeah.
We love him. We're sending out healing. We breath prayers all day long.
All day long.
Breath prayers.
Ron and Kim Mon, we
healing
love you
prayers.
guys
We
so
love
very
you.
much.
And so we dedicate tonight to Pastor Ron Mon, and we're just sending prayers, and would ask our viewers to do that. You know what? There's any give or take around 30,000 plus of you that watch this over the course of a week. So Pastor Ron Mon and his wife Kim, let's lift up healing prayers for them.
Absolutely.
All right.
And he especially,
tell them
and
that.
which I just love that he's in isolation in
Right.
the oncology ward.
Right.
And he
At
wanted
OU Medicine.
to be sure that we said a big shout out. So I'm going to read exactly what he wrote. A shout
it.
out to the OU Medical Oncology Department, the medical staff, housekeeping, cafeteria, nurses, technicians, everybody. In the midst of isolation cancer ward, they are rock stars. So thank you so much for taking care of our Padre, we call him.
Affectionately, Padre.
Yeah.
And again, as a reminder to all of us, that you know what, these first responders,
Oh my
we're
goodness.
amidst
Isn't that the
this
truth?
pandemic, and they're taking care, and they're on the front lines every day.
We
So
love
let's
it
send up some
so
prayers for
much.
them
Hey,
as well.
share something from the Almanac, will you?
All right. Give us
Always
give-
Almanac moment with Dan.
There it
We're
is.
kind of rushing through this first part so we can get to the questions.
Yeah, that's why you hit me on the knee.
I
saw that.
actually slept.
Yeah, that was good.
I actually slept.
Yeah,
I did.
right.
Did I?
Did she really? I don't think so. And it's the 277th day of the year. And folks, somehow we've made it to October. It's October 3rd.
What?
Sunrise this morning was beautiful in Boston time. Again, and we can figure that out, and I can explain that another day. I was reading on the flight today how to go in and factor where Oklahoma City is. It's on my watch. That's how I know, but we could do the math. 6:44 was our sunrise. 6:21 is a lovely sunset. And Cindi, there were 11 hours and 37 minutes of sunlight. So it's getting, again, shorter,
Wow,
working its
shorter
way
and
to that
shorter.
December, now to our winter solstice, which will happen December 21. The days are going to get shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still experiencing, I feel like a weather guy, some lovely 70s and
We are
80s. Now,
indeed.
she mentioned we were just up in lovely, lovely Amish country in Northwest Ohio where it was 57 lovely degrees. Perfect day yesterday. But we're back in the 405, and again this week it's fall, it's harvest, and we've still got 70s and 80s. It's
We
one of
do
the
indeed.
beautiful
Golfing.
times.
That's called golfing weather.
Your Almanac moment brought to you by the good old fashions in
I love that.
1792. Your Almanac moment.
Now,
All right.
I don't have a tech tip, but I have a travel tip, and it's
Go with it,
two
Cindy.
really
Tell
quick
us.
ones.
Let's go.
First one is, sometimes that mask gets really stuffy.
Oh,
So
Yes.
essential oils, whether it's eucalyptus, whether it's like doTERRA, I use Breathe.
yes.
Put that on the inside of your mask just a little bit, because just a little bit goes a long way.
Great idea.
And all day long, you can kind of breathe that in. That makes you feel good. Also, the best travel blanket I have found is a baby travel
Here we go.
blanket.
We're going to give you a little
It's
room.
from Cloud Island. I actually got it at Target
Yes.
for our grandkids, but I
Nora.
have stolen it because it's the best. So it rolls right up.
Yes.
Put it in my backpack.
Yes. Yes.
You can also use it
What else can you do?
as
Cindy?
a scarf,
Yeah.
and you can use it as a pashmina, but I will not demonstrate that.
Pashmina.
And it's like a little shawl.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
and it's just great. So that's my travel tips for Dan and Cindy, because each week we try to bring something practical, inspirational, and educational. So there you go. All right, well, let's get to it. We've got some fantastic questions.
Okay, here we go.
And
you ask them, and
I
we're
will
going to do our
say
best.
that we probably will not get to all of them. So just bear with us. And if we give a quick answer for some of these questions, it's
Right.
because we're trying to get to
We're
more.
going to cover
So-
as many as we can. But thank you for responding and sending all of those in. Let's go.
So the
Cindy.
first question we kind of already answered.
Yes.
Explain sunsets with Dan and Cindy. Now we explained the Dan and Cindy part,
Yes.
but we didn't explain sunsets. So I love sunsets, and this is a great
It
example.
really is a good example.
I love the after sunset, the backsplash. So it's so beautiful because it lights up the sky, and the cloudier it is, the more beautiful after the sunset. And I feel like that's really applicable in life, in our age,
That's good.
just in the world. So that's why I love sunsets. Why do you love sunsets?
Well, I always loved them. I've just always loved sunsets. And finding my birth father, Jim Perry, in 2004, Sandy was really part of that process. And we'll talk about that on maybe another episode. But the moment, Dad, we welcomed him home, he came into our house. I made a beeline with him right to the west side of our house, and looked out the window.
So
Said,
great.
Dad, come with me. It's one of my favorite spots. As the sun is setting, looked a little bit like this, and he said, son, it's my favorite time too. So
I love
sunsets for us are
Yeah.
just a special time.
Very, very special.
Okay.
Jill and Denise want to know if we're going to do another cruise. Well,
Well,
as a matter of
Jill
fact,
and Denise, tell them.
so in February of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be part of a cruise called Love Like You Mean It. We're
Great.
going to put the link up here. It is
Mm-hmm.
on relationships. And we are not hosting this cruise. We have been invited to be part of it. And I'm so excited.
Like we don't have to, but
So
we
far,
might do that.
it's still on, and it is almost sold out.
Oh, that's great news.
So it's called Love Like You Mean It.
Great
Don
news.
and I will be there.
Great news.
Many other guests that you can find on that website. But yes, and it starts in Puerto Rico,
Oh, so
and
we'll
it
fly
goes
into
south.
Oh, great.
So it's going to be
Great,
just
great, great.
magnificent. Okay.
Okay, what do you got?
Well, this one is for you. Gloria and Paige said they came across you singing the prayer on YouTube.
Okay.
And this gives me a chance to really brag about you because,
boy.
and next week, here's what I think we need to do next
Oh,
week.
boy.
I need to interview you because a lot of the other questions said, how can we hear Don's story? Kevin wanted to know. So
Thank you,
I
Kevin.
think next week I'm going to interview you. And let's talk about West Virginia.
Okay.
Let's talk about adoption.
Okay.
Let's talk about finding your birth family.
I mean,
Okay, so
it's
I'm
gonna
going
be
to
an
interview
Oprah kind of
you.
show.
Yeah. So, but Don studied voice in college, and so that in the last probably 15 or 20 years,
Well, we've been singing it
we've
since
been
90.
singing the prayer. And so Don has a beautiful tenor voice, and the prayer is partly in Italian and partly in English. So I'm going to have Thomas post that link so that you can catch him out. Next week we're gonna interview you. Okay.
Okay, you've been warned.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
I'm
you
a
for that.
6 on the Enneagram, and
Thank you
I
for that.
love to ask questions.
Oh, thank
All right,
for
you want
that.
to take this next one?
I can. So this is from Karin and Bethel. When and why, Sandy, sign language? When did that hit, and why do we still do that?
I love sign language. I've always used my hands when I've been singing. And I saw a video of Dottie Rambo and Reba Rambo and Buck Rambo, and they were doing a song, and the angels called him Jesus. Anyway, I loved it. It was so beautiful. And Dottie Rambo wrote the song We Shall Behold Him, and I thought, wouldn't it
Right.
be
Right.
really cool to do sign language with that? So I just asked someone that I knew did sign language in
Okay.
church. I first learned the chorus, and then I got a book called The Joy of Signing, and it gave me all the signs for everything. And I've just really just stayed with it all of these years, and I really, really love it.
Well, it's fantastic. You know what? Great. You heard that here tonight where it began. And thank you for that. Well, we've got another more little scientific question. One of our viewers has said, any lasting COVID effects? Sandy?
That's
Cindy?
a good question.
Cindy, whoever you are.
I feel like we've recovered 100%.
Yeah.
From time to time, we get a little cough.
Tickle.
A little tickle,
Mhm.
and it's so weird because now when you cough, you have to
Yeah.
kind of qualify it.
It's just
Allergies.
Yeah, but it's true.
But I know that is not the case for a
For
lot
some.
of people. So we
Yeah.
are very, very grateful. But I think that you have to give the whole thing time, 2 or 3 weeks for it to
Well,
really.
and I'll say this also, she gets the next question. She does have antibodies. We both have antibodies. We've tested again before we went to see
Yes.
grandparents for our parents and the new grandkids. So you know what? 6 months later, we're still having antibodies.
Yep.
So again, we're writing the book as we go along.
We are.
Okay, what do you got?
Another grandparent tip here.
Okay,
Just I'm
go.
going to
Let's
insert
go,
this.
go.
Get your booster shot,
Yeah.
grandparents. If you
Yeah.
haven't had it in 10 years,
Yeah.
you need it to be around infants. And also get your flu shot. That's the one of the best ways we can say we love you.
Yes.
Okay, now every week in Australia.
I love it.
So on
They join us,
Instagram,
yes.
WS Gretz, she's from Australia,
Yes.
and they wrote it. So tell them what they said.
Well, again, they said that we catch them every week. Says tomorrow they move forward 1 hour tomorrow on Sunday. So you know, one of the things we love to say, Dan and Cindy, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, and in Australia
tomorrow.
But actually,
it really
is
is
tomorrow, and it's 11:30 a.m. where they are in Australia. So happy tomorrow, there, folks in
Yes.
Australia, and we
Thank you
love
for that update.
watching that scroll along. And thanks for joining in with us.
And also along the same line that you just added it in, it said, why don't we say Pacific time? I don't know. We just haven't.
no,
So we're
we
going to
have.
start doing that now.
You just got it 5:30 Pacific for those
Yeah,
folks out there.
so-
And I guess 6:30 Mountain if you wanted to move
if you
8:30,
really-
7:30,
Mhm.
6:30, 5:30.
And we're not going to mess with daylight or standard.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you, Australia, for that. Thank
Here we
you.
go. Here we go.
Judy
and Joy.
and Joy. What's your favorite Bible verse?
You know how there's so many that I love, but probably a life verse for me, being adopted and living the life that I just today, every day, just say, Lord, you're so good. Why have you been so good to me? Why? Maybe it's I'm supposed to tell everybody how good you are,
Yeah.
how loving, how good you've been to me. With God, nothing is impossible. Luke 1:37.
Love that. That's
I know,
just
I
awesome.
know. How about you?
Luann said, are you going to...
your
Oh,
favorite
my Bible
verse?
verse. Yes, so sorry.
Thanks, Luann.
I'll be back, Luann. There's two that often pop into my mind. Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. You know, we want the last half of that verse, but a lot of times we're not willing to delight ourselves in him. So I really love that. And I love Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Again, so often we want the last half of the verse, but our part is trust in the Lord. Lean not on our own understanding, acknowledge him.
I love the one verse that says he will make your paths Straight.
I love that.
Love that. Okay,
All
well, with
right.
that, let's go to
Well,
Luann.
Luann wants to know, do you do concerts for people who can't afford it? And let me tell you this, if you ever see us coming near you and you want to come and you cannot pay for a ticket, please message me on any of the social platforms and we will give you a comp ticket.
You
so
bet.
you never have
You
to
bet.
worry about that.
You let us know.
Sometimes we'll run out of comp tickets and we'll let you know that too, but don't ever hesitate to ask because we would be very happy to do that. What is the most difficult song we have sung?
Well, go ahead with what you jump
Well,
in. They probably
okay.
want to know. I'm thinking about it.
I feel like it's probably something I sang in college in French is the most difficult song ever. I did a WC thing and it was beautiful, but I do not remember it at all.
Wow.
But I think after that, the most difficult song
Yeah, talk
to
about
date
present, yes.
that I've ever sung is the arrangement that David Clydesdale did for me of the Star Spangled Banner.
Talk about
The
breath
phrasing,
support.
the range, everything. And let me just give a shout out to Mary Milburn,
Great, great,
who
great.
sang that version of the Star
Yes.
Spangled Banner at the Republican National Convention. That beautiful young lady who had that fabulous red dress on.
Hello.
And just sang so beautifully. So Mary,
So
thank
well.
you
Well done.
very, very much for that. What are your hobbies?
Well, Cindy, what do you got? You want me to go?
You,
Well,
yes.
obviously with our ever-growing family, I feel like this is an answer, and it's going to weave in and out of so many questions. But with our ever-increasing party of table for 23, please.
Oh, right.
Our family is really just to stay up with them weekly to go, did I talk to my kids?
Right.
So it's more than a hobby, but to stay connected with our kids and she's the best at FaceTiming, even if it's what we call a quick hi.
Yeah.
So but I love to get out and play golf. My dad was a golfer.
Yeah,
Sam.
you're a golfer.
And I love to get out and golf. So that's it. What about?
Yeah. Well, I have really enjoyed swimming
Yes.
in the last year a lot.
Yes.
And so I was swimming at our little old people gym until it
Yes.
kind of closed down for
For COVID.
COVID. And then we have a pool in our neighborhood and I was swimming that. So now I'm excited to go back to our little
Yes.
old people gym because
And
it's
the family,
awesome.
would you say the family's a
Well,
hobby?
it's definitely a hobby, but I do think that I feel like the HR director,
I
know,
know.
and that kind of ties in with what is the biggest adjustment of being empty nesters.
Go ahead, Cindy.
And I would say just keeping in touch with everybody. Like Don said, we have 8 kids, we have 6 in-laws, we have 7, almost 8 grandkids. And to just find time to touch base with them. And let me tell you, when you call your family or FaceTime them, it doesn't always have to be a super long conversation.
Right.
It can be a quick hi. Hey, I just wanted to hear your voice. I just wanted to see your face. Everybody's busy, but I love those quick highs. I really, really do. So,
Yeah. Agreed.
this is a real question. Where do you like to shop and get your clothes? Let's both answer that.
Go.
Well, why don't you answer while I
Get a drink.
explain that this is not
It's just
COVID?
allergies. Well, I got to give a shout out to one of my favorite stores that may not survive COVID, and it's been Steinmart.
I know.
I know. So those folks out there, if anybody out there loves Steinmart as well, we're going to miss them. That's been one of my favorites. But I absolutely, because I'm a shopper, love to get things on sale, and I may give hers away, but love Dillard's and find things there on sale. And
On
that's
sale. See, that's the
only.
key.
That's the key, is to be a shopper and to find them. But going to miss Steinmart. How about you, Cindy?
Well, I love Dillard's
Yes.
very, very much.
Yes.
We always look for the sales. We're always stocking.
We are.
I'm so sorry. It's allergies. But I also love Chico's very much.
Yes.
I love Lane Bryant and
Yes.
Torrid. So those are my go-tos.
There you have it.
And again, I'm always looking.
We always
Like, and until it's that perfect thing, I don't get it.
Right.
Have you noticed changes in mature voices?
Interesting. Do you want to
Why
talk about
don't
that?
you go first, and then
know-
I got some
Well,
suggestions for the female voice.
It's interesting that she mentioned that, and I did study U of M opera. Beverly Rinaldi was my voice coach, and it was really fun for Allie, my daughter, to study with Beverly Rinaldi at
Yes.
Interlochen as well. So probably coached with. Also had Greta, who was Greta Dominic at AU. So, but I think the thing that I find is that my voice has matured. And Sandy, I've had this conversation. When you're younger, And you add body. You add body to your voice. And it's almost a placement thing where you place it in a different place and you add body to it. Now I've noticed as we've aged, the notes are there, but I take it more, instead of pitching it forward, I pitch the voice back a little bit, and the cover and the body is there. So the placement's a little different. I don't have to project it, and I'm actually singing easier and finding that there's more, the sound, the voice has matured. So there's more body to it naturally. I don't know if that makes sense, you singers out there, but I still think the key is what you're going to talk about: exercising, vocalizing, using your instrument.
Yeah. Vocalizing is huge.
Huge.
Diaphragmatic breathing.
That's it.
Gets very, very important the older you get.
Yeah.
It should be important all the way, but that's what your voice sits on.
Absolutely.
And I also want to, this is a very helpful tip, but if you are a female singer and you're getting older, you may go through some things where you get some hormone replacement. Do not get testosterone, only estrogen. Do not add the testosterone. I made the mistake of doing that a few years ago, and my voice dropped. Fortunately, it was just one dose, and it can come back. But so that I tried to tell.
You were able to sing all the male roles in Beer Tide that year.
Yes, and it was awesome.
No, but it was scary. And you know what? We got through that, and she got off that, and it popped right back up there. But so you got to be careful with those things.
Got to be very careful.
It's very much a combined with your physicality, the physical aspect
and
of.
hydrate, which I don't do as well as I should.
Better.
But I do warm up, warm down.
Yeah.
Good vocal technique, even when you're not singing.
Yes.
Hey, why don't you take us home with our inspirational thought?
Is it that time already?
It is. It's almost so.
Well, why don't you give them the context for this?
Well,
context.
As we mentioned earlier, we're dedicating this show to our spiritual director. He and his wife, we are just dear to us. And I have learned so much about how God loves me, sitting in his counseling office and having meetings with him, or conversations or sessions or whatever it may be. And I just so appreciate how he has given himself. He too is adopted. And so he's been able to uniquely speak into your journey with adoption and help me understand what that journey with adoption looks like. But this is a prayer, and go ahead, you can say where it's from and all that.
Well, one of our pastors, another pastor on staff, Pastor Terry Fakes, one of our executive pastors, sent this to Ron, and as Sandi shared, he said, OU Medicine in isolation, going through these initial stages of chemo, and it's a lovely liturgy prayer, a morning prayer for those who are ill. This is another day, O Lord. I know not what it will bring forth, but make me ready, Lord, for whatever it may be. If I am to stand up, help me stand bravely.
That's so good.
If I am to sit still, help me to sit quietly. If I am to lie low, help me to do it patiently. If I am to do nothing, let me do it gallantly. Make these words more than words, and give me the Spirit of Jesus. In Christ's name, amen and amen.
I have a feeling that was not just for Ron.
That's right.
But I have a feeling it was for many of you. This has been a tough year, and we have battled illness probably collectively more than we have. So may those words bring you encouragement. And Don and I always love to get this time with you, and we can't wait to see you next week. I'm going to interview Don. I want him to talk about adoption and just how that's played out in his life, and finding his birth family and all of that. So we're home now for a while. We're awaiting now grandbaby number eight. So
we're back in the 405. And again, keep connected with us weekly. Send those prayers if you would this week. All of you that are watching, Pastor Ron and his wife Kim, thank you for joining in with us so very much. And remember, God loves you, and so do we. And we look forward to seeing you next week on Sunsets with Dan and Cindi.
Bye, everybody.